Hello, hello. Can you
Uh,
hear me?
I can hear you just fine. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. And do you go by Vod or do you want to go by Vadym?
It's Vadim, but you can
Vadim.
call me Vad. Yeah,
Vod.
you can
All
call
right.
me Vad. That's okay. That's okay.
Excellent. How are you doing today?
It's hot, but I'm doing okay.
Where are you located
I'm
at?
in Europe. I'm in Europe, and it's hellishly hot in Europe right
Oof.
now.
Doesn't sound good.
Plus, yeah, it's plus 41 Celsius. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what is Fahrenheit, but yeah, that's quite hot.
Celsius to Fahrenheit. Let's take a quick look. 105 degrees. My goodness.
Yeah, so I'm just sitting under the air conditioning unit all day.
That's amazing. So, from your perspective, what are you coming into this meeting as an objective or a goal? And I've got a couple of different variations, or I can adjust accordingly to ensure we maximize this opportunity.
Well, I guess I can tell about the game, about our plans, where we are right now,
Mm-hmm.
how the game operates. So like what role do we see guilds play
Mm-hmm.
in the boss fighters ecosystem? Yeah, so things like that. So I'm pretty open about like uh, all the stuff. So like that is our motto. Like be very open with the community,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is. So we can talk about like hit me with your questions. Like tell me what kind of structure of this conversation you had in mind,
Yep.
and yeah.
So I always like to do storytelling when I do my interview. I always like to start with a little bit about where you're, because it helps build that frame of reference. Where you're coming from, and how you're approaching these projects, and what your grand vision eventually will become and manifest into, that people are just excited to be on board and take that journey with you. So so if we want to roll into that way, I can start with how you were first introduced to the idea of Web3 gaming, and what really were your motivators. What drove you to pursue this avenue as your potential
hmm
opportunity?
Yeah, so I'm a game developer, like with 13 years of experience. So basically, I worked my way up from the bottom of the gaming industry. So I'm a tech guy, still a tech guy. I was a tech guy.
Hmm.
I like to fiddle with knobs and counters in the engine, like do stuff manually. But right now, I don't have the luxury to do that anymore, unfortunately,
Hmm. Oh, I'm
because I'm the
sure.
CEO.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so eventually founded my studio and we built games for others for many years. So we also worked in VR a lot, specifically in the business side. So B2B applications, we won Epic Grant. And I was a small time crypto investor since 2016,
Hmm.
probably like, and this is where like this whole project of the ownership, the blockchain, the next generation of the internet started to come together in my mind.
Hmm.
Uh, so in late 2021, like maybe not 20, like maybe not late, probably in summer 2021, I decided, okay, so it's time to make our own game. And if we're gonna make a game, it has to be something new, something unique, because we were always pushing the boundaries. Like
Yeah.
in the studio that I was running for many years, like we worked with cutting edge technologies. Like we did a lot of stuff, like virtual production in Unreal Engine. Like we worked with Karate Combat, set up those virtual backgrounds. It was totally new technology. Then we
Hmm.
started working with VR. At the time in 2016, it was very new stuff, and we did a lot of cool stuff with that. So, and with that philosophy in mind, we decided, okay, let's make a game that also pushes some boundaries in the gaming industry. We don't
Hmm.
want to repeat anyone. Yeah, it's a huge risk, but I think like we very much believe that risk pays off if you work hard enough,
Yeah.
and that's how boss fighters came into being. So the ownership and the Web3 aspect. is like for me, it's a natural evolution of gaming. I'm like I'm a quite an old guy, right? Like I'm 37 right now,
Mm-hmm.
and I still remember times when there were those NAS cartridges where we traded CDs with friends. So we
Mm-hmm.
had those physical copies of games, and we could trade them with friends from school, from college, and it was awesome. So you have this physical thing, you can trade the game. There is a secondary market for that.
Mm-hmm.
Then everything went into and became online. Service games, live service games came to being, and everything became digitized. So uh, but people still were continuously spending money in the games, and the market only grew and grew for basically decades.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually we ended up in a situation when you can play a game for 10 years, spend thousands of dollars in the game, and you don't own anything in the
Yeah.
game. So like the story with Diablo 3 auction house showed like a lot of flaws in this system. Like people were trying to trade, so like farming gold in World of Warcraft. Like
Yeah.
we know all the stories.
Yeah.
So there has to be a technology, there has to be a layer that allows you to transact safely, that allows you to store value
Mm-hmm.
of the time you spend in the game. And in the world that is getting more and more digitized by the day, it's a it's a one-way street. The technology is one-way street.
Mm-hmm.
It's natural to have some tools that allow you to store your time and value that you spend in games, because gaming is massive and it's only gonna get bigger in
Yeah.
the future.
Oh,
So that's
absolutely.
how so that's how basically we decided, okay, let's put all our expertise in one piece in making boss fighters.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be a game where there will be a VR component, because we have strong expertise in doing VR, and I think we nailed this pretty well in boss fighters. It's a very unique experience. The ultimate experience of boss fighters
Mm-hmm.
is playing in VR, and there has to be a Web3 component, the ownership. So the cosmetic items and the player-owned economy. So that is how, like, the long story how we got here.
Uh, and honestly, the introduction of VR and having cross platforms interact with that. I mean, you're talking about your days, being 37, I'm 38, so we have kind of the same growth through watching the gaming industry develop. And I could still remember going into like my local Toys R Us, and they had a VR headset that you would put on and see all these geometric shapes and lines, and you can go around, and it almost was like one of those asteroids where you could like shoot a little pellet and watch it kind of go off and hit a target. And I was like, man, this is such a great concept, cool concept. But then it kind of fell off. It kind of disappeared, and it wasn't until like you said, around maybe what 2018 ish, or even
Yeah,
a little bit before that, Samsung started introducing the collaboration of having your phone be an
yeah,
engine
yeah, yeah.
to see these VR experiences. And that was life changing to me. To be honest with you, I still remember when I pulled my VR headset out and put that on for the first time, and my eyes were just like,
Yeah,
"Am I really, really doing this? This is
yeah, yeah.
amazing!" So now
I
to
totally
introduce
get what you're
that,
talking about. Right. This is like one of a time experience. When you first put a VR headset, this is
hmm
the experience that you will remember for the rest of
oh,
your life.
the
That is
rest
for
of your
sure.
life for sure.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
And
and
I
yeah,
have more to say about VR. So like
yeah,
some people asking me, why do you have VR in the game? Like it's not that popular. It's like a small platform. Like I like numbers. I can beat you with numbers.
yeah.
So first of all, there are more VR headsets. There are almost as many VR headsets out there right now as Xbox consoles, Xbox Series X. So it's
hmm
like almost 30 million devices. But the more important thing that I think is really important in that equation, VR is a toy, a gaming console for a younger generation.
hmm
So what happens? when this younger generation grows up. They will stick with the technology that they grew up with.
Yep.
So it's only like we're gonna get more and more VR headsets. It's gonna be used more and more regularly. So it's a long-term bet that we're doing here. It's not like a 6 month project, Boss Fighters. We were developing it for 3 years already, and
Yep.
we're betting for 5 years more at least. So like think of all those kids who are playing with VR headsets right now, and like we have 12 million views in TikTok on our hashtag Play Boss Fighters,
Yep.
and most of them are those guys from MetaQuest, like MetaQuest users, who
Mhm.
are kids from 11 to 16, and they're gonna be only more of these players. So I think it's a really safe bet. And here's the bridge to Web3, because we introducing them to Web3 concepts. We also onboarding massive new player base, massive new cohort of users into Web3, and
Mhm.
there's not going to be this pushback that we're getting from old school gamers, right? That don't like Web3 games. So it's a long-term project,
Yeah.
and there has to be games who are committed for long time success, like we.
Yeah, there appears to be a consistent theme of stigma around traditional Web 2 gamers. When they hear crypto or they hear blockchain, they immediately think of volatility and rug pulls, and there's a lot of things that are turning off. From your studio's perspective and utilizing boss fighters, how do you feel you combat those, or how do you feel you're going to be reaching out and engaging on those that have that stigma just kind of ingrained through their learning of this technology?
So I think community is the most important part, and that is what I love in Web3 gaming a lot. So this is the best part to love in Web3 gaming is the community. So
Hmm.
like it's a knife that cuts both sides. Like if you have a bad product or like bad behavior, like community will punish you. But at the same time, if you transparent, and this is actually what we see. This is what gamers want to see in like they are uh, traditional like Web2 gamers. They are sick of those giant corporations who like, do all the same games all the time, and everyone is telling like the gaming industry is stagnating. On the other hand, there are indie games, too many of them. So uh, the the companies who succeed are the companies who like very open with the community,
Hmm.
and we can see this like from like I have my favorite gaming studios out there. So like games like Satisfactory, how they work with the community. That's amazing. So it's a small studio like us, but they have a massive support from the community. Obviously, they have a great game,
Hmm.
and this is what's important. So I think this is the thing that might solve this stigma. So if you're open with the community, if you explain that there is nothing like we're not trying to rug pull, like we like everything is very much open. So uh, then you can convince some people. You can convince that yeah they can give it a try. On the other hand, you can employ some in-game tools to introduce those traditional gamers into Web3. So this is precisely what we are doing in Boss Fighters. So like the way we model the economy, like we haven't yet published like a lot about this, but like a small sneak peek. So we want to make it very affordable for everyone.
Hmm.
So like like skins like Battle Pass is like 9.99, and in some NFT games you have to pay like thousands of dollars for NFTs.
Yeah.
So we don't want that to happen. Obviously, there's gonna be like assets like that, but the entry level should be at least at the same, like the bar to enter the game economy should be at least at the same level as in traditional gaming.
Hmm.
Then it doesn't sound like ridiculous for traditional gamers, because for some players yeah like right now they're arguing about like whether increasing the game cost from 60 to $70 is worth it, because like we know the economic situation in the world. So you have to put reasonable, like make the game economy reasonably priced, like the assets. So that is also important thing. But so these two components, I think, are the most important. Being transparent with the community. What are your intentions? What do you plan to do? how things gonna work, and creating in-game tools to onboard traditional gamers into Web3 by introducing them step by step to Web3 concepts.
Understood. And would you consider yourself more of the trailblazer in the VR experience, or are you aware of other studios that are trying to compete at this time and introducing that type of technology into this Web3 game sphere that's going on?
There are a few studios out there, but most of like the VR experiences right now. So VR is like that's why we have a VR as an optional component. Yeah, it's ultimate experiences in VR boss fighters, but you can play the game without VR. We don't obviously want to limit our player base only
Mm-hmm.
to VR because again, like uh, a few examples of VR games that are super popular. So like back then, everyone was talking about Beat Saber. It was the most popular game in VR. Right now, the most popular and the most profitable game in VR is Gorilla Tag, I think, and
Mm-hmm.
it is a social game basically for kids.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do a VR game, it has to be a social game where you play with other players. So that's what we're trying to do. Like, yeah, the fact that you as the boss in VR are playing with real players, you know that these fighters out there are controlled by real players,
Mm-hmm.
gives you a totally different feel about the game. So you're not fighting bots. You know that you actually can smack real people, and they
Yeah.
will see how you treat them. So that like it's all about this like subtle emotions that you get from the gameplay. So
Mm-hmm.
VR locks you in this VR headset, and you have to expand the play experience. So you don't want to confine in a single play. There are games like this. Like single player experiences are superb in VR, but if you create an open game economy, obviously it has to be a multiplayer game where you can interact with other players.
Mm-hmm. Do you foresee more challenges in the future that you had introduced where bosses are competing against other bosses, going against these
Yeah,
console gamers? That was such
yeah,
a
very,
cool
very,
concept. Such a cool one.
yeah, very, very, very cool concept. We definitely want to experiment with that. We want to do more game modes.
Hmm.
So we want to move step by step. We're a small studio, so we have to conserve our resources and do things in a reasonable pace so they're stable, like everything is working. So we're gonna roll out like one game mode
Hmm.
uh, right now, like this year. So this asymmetrical game mode. But then we have a lot of ideas, and we're actually working on some of them. Some are in pre-production. Like we want to have a creative mode because we essentially a physics-based game. Right,
Yeah.
you can stack things on top of each other. Like you can play with physics, and from that comes uh, part of the fun because physics is a little bit unpredictable, of replayability, and yeah, so game modes with more bosses also on the table, maybe competing teams, like one boss and a team of fighters fighting against another team of boss with fighters might be a really cool idea.
Hmm.
Uh, so we just need to have a foundation established. We want to have like the game economy up and running, and then we can build on top of that. So if community supports us, we're gonna continue building.
And I'm glad you brought up the physics-based background that plays into the boss fighters game itself. I found that when I read that intriguing, and I'm curious: do you outsource the physics equations, or do you have a bunch of physic physics buffs on your team that help do all the
No, no, no.
calculations?
Thankfully, we live in a day and age where engine like Unreal Engine is available.
Hmm.
So it comes with its pros and cons in terms of simulating physics. Uh, so basically, you have to set up like the gameplay, the multiplayer side. So the boss is a physical object. Your hands are physical objects,
Hmm.
and whether you play it on in VR or on desktop, it is still the same character that you're controlling. So that's why you have this weight to the claws, to the weapons. That's why all the objects that you can interact, they have their own weight. Like fighters, they have the weight. The doodads that you pick up from the arena, they have weight. When you toss the objects. There's like some physics calculation happening on the back end, and you always get different results. Like that is the fun part. So we don't want to take ourselves super serious and like consider ourselves like a hardcore competitive game, because that's just basically not how the game works.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Part of the fun in games is a certain degree of randomness. So when something unpredictable happens, that what makes you like excited. So we want to have this in the game, and that is precisely why the game is designed this way.
Very cool. Very, very cool. I've definitely appreciated the gameplay. Myself, I was super excited for July 5th. I know there were some hiccups because I was one of several
Yeah.
thousand people that were disappointed that we were not able to play. Do you have an idea of when we can expect to get back in there and get back in the arena?
Yeah, we're gonna get as soon as possible. So that was a very helpful stress test for us. That showed us
Mm-hmm.
that we clearly underestimated the demand from our community.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think like 1,500 people were like banning on the server at one moment, and we just didn't have enough server computational
The
load,
good problems.
computation power. Yeah, but also like we decided to polish things a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So like um, and the features that I was showing on the stream, so they need a little bit polishing. So like we decided to take a little bit of time. So we're looking like for like so I don't want to like say uh, super concrete dates right now,
Yep.
because I don't want to disappoint the community. But it's gonna
Understood.
happen pretty soon, and uh, it's gonna be a massive update. So there's gonna be new features that were never in boss fighters before. There's gonna be this crafting system. This is a gateway to the economy that we're gonna introduce later this year. New map, actually a few other maps in development, and they're coming this year as well.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, lots of stuff coming to the game, and hopefully we also will ship the native MetaQuest application, which was highly requested.
Mm-hmm.
So you will be able to run the game directly from MetaQuest headset without
Oh,
a desktop PC at all
nice.
for the boss. Yeah,
Excellent. So I'm gonna go back to more of the visual appealing sides of boss fighters, and I'm gonna let you know that my first impression when I saw the images of the boss reminded me of the movie what was it, Mars Attacks, with
yeah.
those little
Tim Burton's Mars
headsets and the
Attacks.
brand.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So was that a creative influence amongst your team? And if not, you know, what has sort of driven sort of the visual aspects and the direction that you're going with the themes within boss fighters?
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that that was one of the visual influencers, like Mars Attacks,
Mm-hmm.
like War of the Worlds, like this giant
Beautiful movie.
alien, yeah, giant alien destroying the small city,
Mm-hmm.
and like the initial. So when you start developing a game, you rarely have, uh, especially it's a like super creative endeavor like this one, you rarely have a super solid vision like how the game will be like in 3 years. It
Mm-hmm.
always evolves. You have this like goal, but it crystallizes over time. And over time, like this vision crystallized, yeah, this is gonna be a gaming show. So we thought that we want to have this like an arena that is artificially constructed, and it's sort of a gaming show where like in the future people combat those big monsters,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and it's not a dystopian world. It's more like of a uh, maybe not a utopia, but like it's a world of abundance, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
a, it's a, it's a gaming show. It's not like Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger, like the gaming show where like the and it's dystopia. So
Yeah.
quite the contrary. So it's a fun like game. Like people play soccer, play baseball. So
Mm-hmm.
boss fighters is something like a game from 25th century where people combat those monsters on the arena, and that allows us to create a lot of variety. So we can build all sorts of decorations, all sorts of types of arena. We can have
Hmm.
a city, we can have a jungle themed arena, we can have like a Greek themed arena, ancient Greek arena, something like that. So we want to have this creative freedom to create wild combinations of visuals. The same applies to characters. So like to allow players to express themselves.
Hmm.
So in the future, we actually plan to add more customization features to the boss, to characters. So this is like planned for next year and going further. But yeah, so freedom of expression. So when you play as the boss, especially in VR, you're totally free, like in what you
Hmm.
can do. Move freely. We don't have this stick movement, so you have to grab onto things like with your clean with your arms. And the same thing, like the same philosophy applies to everything in the game. So at least this is like the vision that we have right now. I think it's like we pretty much crystallized the vision and we want to stick to it. And if community supports us, we're going to continue building in that way.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful to hear. I do want to be considerate of your time. We did allow a certain time frame for this. If you did have a few extra minutes, I did have an additional question. Otherwise, I would love to
Yeah,
give you some time to discuss or provide any other further messages. Just depends on what your availability is.
yeah, I have time. Yeah,
Okay,
we can continue.
excellent, excellent. So, one of the main questions that I hear in our community. So I'm part of the fam guild, and we have a whole community of gamers. We explore different opportunities within the gaming sphere. Boss fighters has been one of the top of our lists, since we've heard about it, and the buzz is generating. We're super excited for it, but now the questions are coming in on the utility of the NFTs and what
Hmm.
what the vision is with these utilities and the burn mechanisms that could come in with the BFT token. Can you sort of touch on what you foresee as a vision of how NFTs are going to be utilized effectively in this gaming environment, and then also how do the tokens play more of a role in
Yeah,
your gaming experience?
yeah, great question. So uh, we have a few types of NFTs in the game. We have utility NFTs, uh, which if we go to our wiki, one type is called pure utility NFTs, the other is utility NFTs, and the other is cosmetic NFTs. So pure utility NFTs, they all relate to collecting tokens in the game. So these are badges, showrunner
Hmm.
contracts, and stadiums. So the badges and showrunner contracts, they work in tandem. So like if you play big time, it's a little bit similar to what big time has. So showrunner contract is basically a time warden. It allows you to craft badge. Then you equip the badge in your character. You play the game and you collect tokens. And then you have to recharge the badge with the help of showrunner contract. Pretty
Hmm.
straightforward. You use premium currency that you purchase from the shop to recharge those to recharge badges. You
Hmm.
can also merge badges together to craft high quality badges and the higher quality you get, the better rewards you get after the battle as a
Hmm.
post battle loot essentially. It is always a preferable move to merge two badges together because like uncommon has better properties than just a common badge. So
Hmm.
these are utility NFTs. So we can speak about stadiums a little bit. We don't want to disclose a lot, but this stuff is uh, this is the only thing that allows you to essentially like get showrunner contracts
Hmm.
uh, for free, not for free, but this is a special utility NFT tailored for content creators. So when we'll be ready to announce them, like when the game will be live, we're gonna have those announced. There's gonna be a huge event. So this thing essentially works like if you help grow boss fighters community, it might help you to grow your own community as a content creator, and in exchange you getting those valuable NFTs that you like buy from special interface that you have in this stadium, and you also can decorate the arena with a stadium. So that is like in a nutshell how stadium works. The other type of NFTs are the game NFTs. So I showed a little bit on a stream. So essentially, all items have 10 rarities, right? So you start from common and you can go up to unique item, which is like one item available. There is a limited supply for each rarity of a certain item. So let's say we have a striker, a rocket launcher that is a basic fighter weapon in the game. So you can have a common striker or you can have a unique striker. What is the difference between them? So first of all items, they can be in-game items and they can be NFT items, because we don't want to be a Web3 exclusive game. We actually want to allow players to have in-game items without any NFT aspects at all. So when and items can be merged together. Like there's the process of crafting and merging together items. So you have like probably like, I don't know if I can share my screen. If it's worth sharing screen, let me like show this thing.
Yep.
Just give me a second. Oh, probably no. I'm not going to be able to share it right now because I lost this tab.
It's okay.
To 200 tabs. So essentially, when you play the game, as a Web3 gamer or a traditional gamer, you get, as a post-battle reward, you get some resources and you get in-game items. Then you can do a few things with in-game items. So first thing, you can merge them together. Let's say you have two strikers, common strikers. Each of them has power perks. Power perks, these are special attributes that tweak your character build. So a power perk can be like it deals more damage to a critical part of the boss. Or maybe your fighter runs faster. The same applies to the boss. Like the boss can have a perk that increases physical damage. And these perks, they sit on those items. So you put those strikers together, merge them together, and you select which perk you wanna keep in the resultant item. You can also roll a better version of the perk with another resource, which is called Reinforcer, or you can roll another perk, which is called Variator. And as a result, you're getting a better item. Let's say like you merge two uncommons into one rare, and now you have one rare striker. And on commons, rare, and mythic item, legendary items, they get power perks. So you can have up to 3 power perks on each item. So what you can do next, you can either you can start from the beginning. Let's say you have a common striker and you can convert it into NFT. And for that, you need BFT tokens. So you need tokens to craft NFTs. NFTs are limited, so there is a pool of available NFTs to craft based on the rarity of the NFTs. So I think it's like 5,000 of common items available for strikers, let's say 5,000 for slime lobbers, and so on. When you craft an NFT using BFT tokens, you get a value perk attached on an NFT. So this is what separates us from big time. Not only this item has a unique cosmetic look, but it also has a value perk. So what is a value perk? Value perk is it's sort of a challenge that you have to complete in a battle to get better rewards. So all value perks are related to rewards. They do not improve your character strength. So it's not pay to win in that regard. So it's really important for us to keep it's a fair play. Everyone is in the same, basically we level the playing field that way. But if you craft in NFTs and you have NFTs on a character, you might get a chance to collect better rewards. And these rewards normally so we have 4 types of value perks. One is it increases your BFT yield if you have a badge equipped. It can increase the flex yield, which is a premium currency that you can use to recharge badges or buy items in a shop, like in the future battle pass, things like that. And also two other perks that give you variators and reinforcers, which you can only get from battles. So you cannot buy them from the marketplace, and you need them if you want better perks. Basically, you have to use them to roll those better perks when you merge items.
Mm-hmm.
So value perks, I think this is the innovation that we added to the system that like Big Time had, and I think this might work really well because not only the items have a cosmetic aspect, which is cool, but
Mm-hmm.
also every item has some value, additional value. So you like it's nice to have additional resources if you play game. And because perks, they have different challenges, valid perks. You can customize your build, so uh, there's a lot of potential combinations of these perks. Like the ideal build, if you have all the perks, they tell you to do the same thing. Basically, you dealt like 1,000 damage, and all the tasks on those perks get completed. If you have three of them, like five of them, something like that. So we also don't want to make crafting of those NFTs too expensive. So to allow traditional gamers to have a taste of Web3. So we actually want to encourage through this economy system a lot of recycling of NFTs. So you can try those new perks.
Mm-hmm.
You can refine your build, and this can also spark a lot of marketplace activity. So this is how we want to drive like the secondary marketplace. Not only utility NFTs are valuable, like that allow you to collect tokens, but because the game NFTs that you equip on your characters also have value in the form of value perks. Uh, this we believe this will create a lot of momentum on the marketplace, and this will strengthen the whole like ecosystem. So yeah, that's basically how it works in a nutshell. And you can craft NFTs up to tier 10. So you can go only to tier 6 to a mythic item with in-game items. But when you start converting them into NFTs, you can go up to tier 10. It's unique item. So at maximum, any given item can have 3 power perks and 5 value perks.
Mm-hmm. So power perks are essentially going to give advantage to those that are getting those NFT cosmetics, NFT power ups, in utilizing that token to achieve those.
Value
Do you,
perks, not
yep,
power perks.
excuse me, value perks. So how do you frame the gameplay to adjust accordingly, especially in the early infancy stages of a game, to prevent those from looking at making those large purchases immediately to gain that competitive edge early on, and essentially separating themselves from those that are doing the traditional grind to achieving their certain value perks? And will there be mechanics in finding matches that match certain bosses with certain levels of what
Yeah,
the NFTs are obtained by those that are participating?
yeah, that great question. So, like in mobile gaming, the matchmaking system normally works not based on your skill, but on how many like items do you have, how many time you spend in the game, and we believe that this is actually a good thing in that context as well. So, on the other hand, because of the nature of our game, like it's physics based, it's a little bit wacky. It has some unpredictable outcomes when you toss stuff. We don't see ourselves as a super hardcore competitive game, and with that in mind, we designed power perks in a way that yeah, they have impact on your character performance, but it's not like you getting 10 times stronger if you have best power perks equipped.
Mm-hmm.
So skill is still an important thing. And if a boss comes up to you and smashes you with a hammer, yeah, probably if you have the best setup available, like best setup of power perks that exists, maybe you can survive not one but 3 hits. of the boss hammer, something like that. So it's not gonna be like you'd come in an unstoppable machine. So you still have to play the game.
Hmm.
So that's how we want to approach this.
Perfect, perfect. Well, again, being conscious of the time, and also I'm just excited to learn about you as a person as well. What sort of hobbies or interests do you have outside of gaming, and how do you feel they play a factor in decisions that you make in the direction of the current studio's ambitions, like Boss Fighters and any other projects you may have?
Yeah, question about my hobbies. Well, I do play video games, as you might imagine. uh, and I like to play different video games. So I like games like simulation games, like I mentioned, Satisfactory. I like single player, like AAA games. So same goes with music. So I just like to pick games that of a good quality that have something unique to offer. So it's not like I have a preferred genre or I grind one game to dust basically. And I don't have 10,000 hours in Dota 2. So yeah, I'm not like that person.
Hmm.
Uh, I also like what I do apart from gaming. I do like physical activity. I do like some gymnastics. I do yoga. Lately, I've been doing a lot of meditation. That helps a lot, especially like with this difficult times that we live through. Like I'm from Ukraine, and like I know that what's happening in Ukraine. Like had a few friends from there, so like yeah, that helps me a lot. So that helps me to stay centered. Physical activity, uh, just eating healthy. I read and listen books on Audible. Namely, like I'm interested. Like lately, I was listening to three types of books, topics. So like applied philosophy, I can call it. That's one thing I'm quite interested in. Second is just being a healthy person, like what to eat, how to exercise,
Hmm.
and business and game development, like Jason Schreier's books, amazing. I recommend everyone to read Blood, Sweat, Pixels, amazing book. So yeah, just like I'm just a normal person. I'm reading books, doing exercises, and trying to do my best.
Sounds like we have an opportunity to start a Boss Fighters book club. I'm for sure going to be marking that down. I know a few other readers, at least in the Fam Guild, that would be definitely interested in checking out that title. So thank you for the recommendation there.
Nice, nice.
All right. Well, I would like you to get. I would like to give you the opportunity at the end here. If there's anything else that you feel that I didn't ask about that you were excited to talk about, I want to open that up for you. And before I do that, I just do want to say I've really appreciated the time that you gave me, the candid answers. Just enjoyed the conversation that we had. I hope you enjoyed it as well. And I would
Yes,
like to give
yes.
you this time to basically do your walk off here, Vad.
Yeah, I'm super happy with the current progress that we have. I'm very grateful for the community that we gathered over the past 2 years. We have a lot of OGs in our community, and I'm grateful for every single one of them supporting us all this time. So this is the game built by gamers for gamers, and can't wait to release this game this year, to release the economy. To like just start seeing your comments. So what do you think? So you can finally get back to battles.
Hmm.
Uh, so you can finally try it on a meta quest. It was very requested feature. I think we have a bright future ahead of us with that community, with the game that we have. So I believe, like in the community, I think community believes that we have something special here. So yeah.
I agree. And if those that do watch this after or listen in on this, because I do have this recorded so I can transcribe and then we'll discuss, if we want to release this after the fact. I'll
Hmm.
get most of this edited out here. But for those that are listening in, make sure to check out bossfighters.com, get signed up, join the Discord, get onto the X platform, follow those updates, get into get in and find the Twitch streamers that when they get the game released, if you are on the fence, because watching it looks absolutely amazing from both the VR perspective, from the console perspective. It is goofy, it's silly, it's fun, it really plays on a lot of your senses. It's such an enjoyable time that you get to experience and watch this. So I encourage everybody to give that a look, get signed up, and we're excited for the future here. So thank you so much again for the opportunity, and I hope this isn't the last time that I get to chat with you, but if it is, it's been an absolute pleasure, sir.
Yeah, me too. Thank you. It was a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for your question.